Christmas come early for me. I knew it. I knew it from day one that there was an agenda out to protect Michael Jordan and his interests. I knew it. Just couldn't put my finger on it. But now somebody has done it for me. I finally feel fucking vindicated. I'm telling you. It's great to know that one of the main things that people like to talk about with LeBron and Jordan, where Jordan has the Defensive Player of the Year award, LeBron doesn't have one. Oh, so is that the thing? Is that what it is? LeBron should have won that back in 2013. Yet they gave it to Marc Gasol, who wasn't even on the first team all defense. He won Defensive Player of the Year and was on second team all defense. How the fuck does that happen? We don't know. Never got an explanation. We've always heard about Michael Jordan, 1988, being the greatest defender in the league. Oh, no. Fraudulent. So, Tom Haberstroh wrote a nice article and said that Michael Cooper, who was the Defensive Player of the year prior, Michael Jordan had started the season and said in the media, and I quote, Michael Cooper is great at ball denial, but check his other stats. This league gives defensive awards on reputation. It just tees me off. Those are words out of Michael Jeffrey Jordan's mouth. So, just think about what I'm setting up for you. My compadre, the silent assassin, starts the season. So the season hasn't really started yet. He's putting the season and whoever it is on notice. I'm not happy that I didn't win this award. Michael Cooper shouldn't have won it over me last season. So I'm telling you, I need to win it this year. Oh, how things work. So there's like I said, this article was very detailed by Tom Haberstroh. He said that this stats in the 80s were very, very inflated. The stats in regards to the home box scores or the stat books and the away stat books were like night and day. I think there was like an 800 point difference or something like that. Not in regards to the score, because you can't manipulate the score. But in regards to like turnovers, blocks, all of these things, it was just like a very, very uneven discrepancy. In the league right now, there is no uneven discrepancy. It's very, very accurate. Everything is hyper-analyzed, over-analyzed. You have, advanced metrics. Everything is just dissected to the letter, right? To the number, all of that stuff. So there's no real padding that can happen. Not in the 80s. So Michael Jordan, Tom Haberstroh, he was looking at it because he was trying to find certain statistics that made sense. So there's the steal block statistic, and they combine it, right? So how many steals and blocks you get per game, they combine it to say it's a stock. And shouts to my man Bryson Carver, who did a really good job, kind of mapping this out on his show on Wednesday. But said that Michael Jordan's stats on the road were like probably maybe 3.1 combined steals and blocks. So he probably, Total of what he's getting is like 3.5, 3.1, whatever it is. At home, those statistics jump over 50%. So it goes from stocks being 3.1 to over 6, which means that he's getting he was getting like 4 steals a game at home. 2 blocks at home. And Scottie Pippen released a book years ago saying that he would get a steal, pass it to Jordan. He and Jordan would get credited for the steal. How? I did all the work.
Is this like something that's only really happened with Jordan?
No. This happened in the 80s.
Okay.
But in this specific year where he won the Defensive Player of the Year, his numbers were so outrageous. They said that he had the greatest Defensive Player of the Year in regards to statistics ever. It's clear bullshit now. Because the man's stats jumped over 50% to the point where he had I think he had 40-something blocks on the road, and it ended up being like 90-something at home. Steals went from like 90-something at home on the road to over 100-something on the road, like 180, 190 on the road or at home. Like, what are we? So, and then there was a guy that was keeping the books that they identified. Him and Jordan were very close. He worked for the Chicago Bulls, obviously. Him and Jordan used to go over the stat book every game.
It's like, yo, can you change this one for me?
Come on. For me? Right?
That's crazy, yeah.
Then the guy who wrote the article said that, all right, you can't find many games full length that you can be able to watch now from the 80s, right? He found 6 games from that season. He watched the game from start to finish. There was a game where he played the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks had 10 turnovers in that game. Jordan had 10 steals. So I'm going to break this down. A steal is a turnover, right? You have to steal the ball to go on the other end.
So you got them all.
There's other ways to get turnovers in basketball. You can pass the ball to somebody and they can dribble it or lose control. You can dribble the ball off your foot. You can have a 5-second violation. You can have a charging call. There's so many different things that can happen that causes turnovers. Guess what happened in that game? He watched the game and saw that they had other turnovers outside of steals. So if there was some possessions where, there was an offensive foul, there was a errant pass, something like that, how does Jordan get 10 steals if they weren't credited for 10 turnovers off steals? It's ridiculous.
It's like crazy how it's just like, I know you said there's not much proof of the games being filmed back then, all of them. So
yeah,
but even like in like the time being, like I'm sure like the next day the stat book is available for people to see now.
I'm sure it is, but guess what? Like, the golden goose, you think they're gonna challenge him? No, they're not.
It's crazy.
And this is what I'm saying is that now I would love to hear from Jordan fans now what they're gonna say. When the evidence is literally right here. Come on, let's watch the games together. Let's look at the scoreboard or the stat book from that game and let's see if it actually plays out the way it is. I can guarantee you, if that game was so outrageous, could you imagine the other 40 games at home? What it was like? And then who knows if this wasn't a thing throughout the entire time he was playing?
I want to say, like, isn't it? Well, I mean, I guess it is cheating because you're falsifying information. But like, is this like potentially a big lawsuit?
No. No lawsuit is gonna happen. There's no asterisk that's gonna happen. But to know that it's bullshit,
it's crazy.
Makes me over the fucking moon. Because when people get on their Jordan horse, I can always dangle this fucking bullshit carrot in front of you. Oh, well, you know your defensive player of the year was fraudulent, right? Mm. We can go over it if you like. But they'll always do plausible deniability. Well, I don't know if that's real, man. He set it up. That's what Jordan does. He cried about it. I didn't get defensive player of the year. So he has to throw shade at somebody else. And then you doctor stats? Mm-hmm. Pitiful. Disgusting. Disgusting.
It's crazy to like, for him to walk around with it, be like, I'm the greatest player ever, and just like knowing deep down
that you're a fraud.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm excited. I have been proven correct. Great player. I'll never take that away from Jordan. Great. He's a fucking fraud, though. That's all it is. So, hey, Jordan fan out there, hey, let's pull the stats up. Let's watch a game, and then let's go ahead and keep stats of that game and see what happens. You don't have to worry about that with LeBron because he grew up in an age where everything was copacetic and you couldn't doctor stats. Like the great MJ. Let's protect MJ. He has a gambling problem. Let's let him go away for a while, for a couple of years, and figure it out. Told you. I'm very comfortable getting canceled this week. I'm just being honest. Can't be considered the great when you're stat padding. And they always talk about LeBron stat padding. They love to use that. Other players stat padding. But Jordan doesn't? You're being proven correct here. If Tim Haberstroh were to go ahead and go further into detail and find more games that Jordan played, I'm sure there'd be a lot more discrepancies. But we're just going to leave it there. Moving on.